Why hello everybody, Spencer here, also known as Lego Dude 11, and in today's video, this is my Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 spoiler review. So without further ado, let's discuss. Alright, so like I just said, this is my Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, or Mission Impossible 7. It's the 7th movie in the franchise. Dead Reckoning Part 1 spoiler review. There are going to be spoilers in this video. I don't think I had any spoilers for Indiana Jones. Maybe I did, but I think I did. But there's some spoiler reviews where I don't have any spoilers, but there are some reviews where I don't have spoilers. Mostly I try to make it my TV show vlogs, however, this is going to have spoilers, so if you have not seen the film yet, back away. But the film has been out for about a week now. Week and a half, because it came out on a Wednesday instead of a Friday. They pushed it up. I think it was a great idea because this film is a masterpiece. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm biased on lots of films, because I'm not. Indiana Jones was fun, but it was definitely not. It's definitely not going to be in my top 10. Ant-Man 3, with Ant-Man Quantumania, was one Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania had. I was really excited for. It was in my top 10 of the year. It's not going to be in my top 10 at the end of the year. Or my most anticipated. It's not going to be at the end. But this film is in my top 10. It's going to be my number 2 film of the year, right underneath Spider-Verse. But this is exceptional. And I'm going to get to my list of notes here that I did take down on the film. No vlog because I saw it with my parents. But let's start off. So the score by Lorne Balfe is amazing. I love this guy. By the way, I want to give some housekeeping or some clarification before I start my notes that Mission Impossible is one of my favorite franchises. I'm not a James Bond guy. I just never clicked with James Bond. I've seen Casino Royale and Live and Let Die, the 2 films I've seen, and it just never clicked for me. Daniel Craig is fine, but the James Bond franchise, any of them never clicked. Just never gotten into it. But what Mission Impossible, I just love the theme for in general. And Tom Cruise doing the stunts is awesome. But I think even watching number 2, when I started watching it, number 1 is classic, and then number 2 is kind of cheesy in some of the fight choreography from John Woo with the birds and all that. But then you get number 3, and that ends that first trilogy, and then 4 reinvigorates the whole thing. Like number 3 by J.J. Abrams is great. Then you get the Brad Bird film, Ghost Protocol, and then you get the Christopher McQuarrie film, Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning, and we're in awesome. Like, this is awesome. So I love this franchise so much. I said in my Indiana Jones thing, I said, oh, I love Indiana Jones. I still love Indiana Jones, but I think this is Mission Impossible franchise is right under Marvel for me. So back to this. Lorne Balfe, what he brings to this. Michael Giacchino did the theme in soundtrack in the Bad Bird one, and I liked his soundtrack, but Lorne Balfe brings a lot of gravitas to the soundtrack in all of the films, and this one's no exception. There's recurring motifs, but just different pieces, like works in the different action moments that just work perfectly. I love the theme song that recurs throughout the movie. It's gorgeous, and just the little motifs, like I said, nail it. And Lorne Balfe is a great composer. He's done some of other movies like Black Widow that people don't like. He's done Penguins of Madagascar film that I love, Black Adam, this, Top Gun, Mission Impossible, other films, just good dude. And he did the Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out this year, which is another good film. So good on Lorne Balfe, like to hear him. And let's move on. So the characters in this film, I kind of put characters in the story next to each other. The characters are great. We got Tom Cruise returning, great performer. Haley Atwell in a new role, coming in this as Grace, great performer. I cannot wait to see more for her in the next film. Simon Pegg as Benji, Ving Rhames as Luther, Ilsa, I forget her last name in this. But she has something I'll mention later. But the characters just recurring here are great. And we get a returning character, Agent Eugene, who was from the first film. That's a great spoiler. It's a spoiler. You see it in the trailer, so I guess it's not really a spoiler. and it's great to see more of him. He was the first. He wasn't the mole in the first film, but he was like the, I guess, agent. He was just Agent Eugene. I don't remember what his role was in the first film. That was long ago. I watched it, but it's he's back, and great recurring characters, great moments with characters in the certain like mostly in the ending, where they use the masks again, like they have in the other films, and it works. It's just flawless. It's perfect. The moments that they do it, and I love it. So, in the story, we get this like 10-minute prologue. I would say like 5 minutes, and then before the actual theme song introduction plays, there's like it's like 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes. I don't know. I didn't time it. But like this introduction about like what the mission is before we actually see Tom Cruise. There's like they're in the submarine, and then we get this whole introduction by Tom Cruise and Agent Eugene returning, and this story is I've heard people say before going in, it was like, oh, it's all about AI. This whole thing in recurring in the movie, they mentioned the entity, but I didn't really have because at this time in this era, people are going, oh, AI this, AI that, I hate it. But my perception is, as I point to myself a bunch, like with technology in this, is as long as it's used correctly, it's not going to be harmful. But yes, it is dangerous. Like it's a little bit scary, but at the same time, when it's used correctly, like the things that it knows. But I don't know. I'm not thinking about it like harming me. But I don't want to make that the premise of this video. But I thought it was used well. Like the whole film, it wasn't globalized. Like, oh my god, the world's being taken over. Like there was a mission involved. I didn't feel like it was. The film didn't feel like, oh well, there's AI there and that makes the film bad. No, that I didn't feel like that. Some people I felt like people were making that judgment, like, oh well, I don't like AI, therefore this film is bad. Man, I didn't feel like that at all. But yeah, I dug it. The story with the AI, like I thought it was a nice tie-in for this time. If it was like the first movie years ago, that wouldn't have worked. But I thought that at this current time, it worked really, really well. Kind of reminded me of The Incredibles 2 with Screenslaver, how they use all that technology and they use like the screens, kind of like that. But my point is not the same era, but like the how Screensaver used screens in that movie. But this, they're doing AI with when they're using the codes and the intercoms and everything. And Benji's like, no, it's not me, it's not that comms. That was very scary. In a little sense, but beyond that, I like the whole use of the AI in the story and everything. The whole key aspect thing was clever. The whole with that Haley Atwell's character with the pickpocket. There's a bunch of sequences in this movie, but my favorite the airport beginning thing sequence with the airport. Well, it wasn't beginning, but there was that chase sequence on the horses, which was nice, but I thought it was going to be used more as the way of you see it in the trailer, and it reminded me of John Wick 4 when he was on horses, but that's okay. I mean, I liked it no matter what. But then we get into the airport sequence, and that was a thrill ride in and of itself, because like you get introduced to Haley Atwell, and she's a pickpocket, and like throughout the whole movie, she's like pickpocketing, like taking the key out of someone's pocket or purse and pockets and everything, and it's crazy. It's like, oh my god, like, because I haven't been pickpocketed before, but I've seen them in New York. I was just in New York this summer, and it's like pickpockets are everywhere, or they're real, and it's like to see her character doing that in this movie, it's just pickpocketing from everywhere. It's like crazy. So yeah, that's the story. And the action in this movie, like I said, I was just talking about the first airport sequence. The action in this movie is crazy, even better than Fallout. Like, and I love every film in this franchise, except maybe two. I mean, 2 is the worst, but it still has some shining moments in that film. But okay moments. But this film does the action even better. Like when you get into the finale of this film, because I saw someone say that I don't even know if I want to name names, but I won't. On YouTube, reviewers say that Mission Impossible Fallout is his favorite action movie of all time, and that's great. You can have your own opinion, but like this end, like I was ready for this like to not be as great as Fallout, and I was like, well, this is even better. I was on the edge of my seat. I was gripping. This is intense. I was gripping my seat. Like I knew that Tom Cruise wouldn't die in this film, but it was crazy good. And I'll get to the ending in a little bit. But the one thing I want to mention about big spoiler mode is Elsa Faust, that's her name, Elsa Faust. She has a death scene in this film, and I felt bad for her character because I was like, oh man, she's gone. Like, what happened? And I think for a couple of things for me, like I think these are my thoughts and thoughts on it. I was gonna think of another word and I couldn't come up with it. Like I was watching it going, oh, they couldn't. Oh, I don't know what's happening outside. They couldn't have done it in part 2, but I think they wanted a little bit of stakes for part 1, and then part 2 something else might happen. I'm not sure. Maybe Grace will die. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't predict films. I don't like to have expectations going in, but there was some stakes in this, and she died. So, I think I'm glad that it was her character because I didn't really have much attachment. Like she was part of the team, right? But as long as it wasn't Benji or Luther, or obviously Grace died. Like if Grace died in this movie, Grace is Haley Atwell's character, I would have been a little bit more heartbroken because I just got introduced to that character. But seeing it as it was a character that we had in 2 other films, I was okay. I was kind of okay with it. Seeing as that we had other characters like Benji and Luther, and frankly, sitting as I'm talking to you right now, I don't really, depending on how the next 2, because I guess there's supposed to be after Dead Reckoning Part 2, there's supposed to be a third, not third Dead Reckoning, but another one after. I'm hoping that Benji and Luther stick around for like a happy finale. They don't die. Please don't let them die. But Elsa was fine because she was a not mediocre character, but a character that we already knew from 2 films ago. It wasn't like we were just introduced to her in this film. So I'm starting to scratch my nose a bunch. It quite itches. So I don't know. I seem to do that a lot on my videos. But anyway, I'm gonna stop now. So yeah, she dies. Also the I lost it. But anyway, the villains. There's some villains in this film, and I remember now. So the other character I forgot was Mantis. Pom Klementieff is in this film as well, and I heard people going, "Oh, she's not used well." But here's the thing: in every character in a film, whether they have dialogue or no dialogue, like A Quiet Place has very little dialogue, but you can have a character emote, do things, act. She's a great actress, and she performed like I haven't seen her in anything else. I don't know if this was her next role after Guardians, but she does so well in this role. She's like, so, hey, like she's a villain, right? And she goes, hey, like she's just like grinning the whole time evilly. It's like the best thing I've ever seen. Like this villain, like smirking and laughing. And I've seen villains smirk like the Joker and stuff, but like this is just like the most fun villain to watch. And it's such a weird sentence, but she's such a fun villain to watch on screen. Because I guess going off of that, like I just said, the villains, that she's a villain, but the other guy, I forget his actor name, but Gabriel in the film, he's good. He's not bad in any way, but I feel like him. I'm scratching my nose again. Him, Gabriel, with Mantis's character, her name was Paris, I think, and the White Widow with Vanessa Kirby, all the villains. And there were these other 2 henchman goon characters, which were okay. But like they kept down. They were in the airport, and they kept hunting down Ethan. Because in the beginning, I'm just unsure of their motive. Because at the end of the day, it was like, oh well. I think it might have been that they were trying to get the key, but I wasn't so sure as to why. Maybe I need to go back and watch it because it was with, I don't think I was wondering if they were working for Agent Eugene. But I'm not so sure as to if they got the call. Anyway, before I just ramble, so there were these villains, they were hunting them down at the airport, and then at the end they were like hunting them down on the train. So, Gabriel was good. I just felt like Mantis's character Paris like emoted so well, but Gabriel was also good as well. They say in the film that there was some backstory behind him. There was like this flashback, and I was trying to think like, is there a tie-in from another film? But I think this is his first film that he was in. He wasn't in anything else, so whatever. So I liked all the villains. Mostly the AI was like the target threat, but there were these other villains as well. So very nice stuff. I did like all the mask reveals, and my favorite, there were a couple, I want to talk on the action sequences now. Like I said, the action was even better in this film. But before I get to the end sequence itself, I want to mention like I said, there was the airport scene where Benji had to do this like code sequence, which is very intense, and you think the whole place is going to blow up, and then he finally gets this last reveal that says good luck on it, because it says Benji, or not Benji, it says his last name, you are done. And it's like, how does it know my name? And he has to do all these riddles that was quite tense, and then it's literally counting down. I'm like, man, this is tense. So that whole airport scene was great. And then we have this big car chase scene, which Mission Impossible is iconic for Tom Cruise running and the car chase scene. So we get another one. And what I immediately thought of is they're going down the stairs in this car, where Palm Clementif is just driving this big, bulking, massive, what is it? Like this big van. It's not even a van, but it's like a military vehicle. And they're driving down the stairs, and all I can think of, they're tumbling. It's from Rogue Nation when Benji and Tom Cruise are in the car, like, stairs, stairs, stairs. So one of my favorite Mission Impossible moments was in Rogue Nation of that, and it kind of like ties in that. I love the car chase sequence in this. And they were in Rome too, which was perfectly coincided with John Wick when he was in Rome in John Wick 4. So great moment there with the car chase scene. And then Tom Cruise almost gets hit by a train in the end of the car chase scene, which was a thrilling moment. And so now I got to the end. I'm going to discuss the ending of the film along with my rating. So let's get to that. So the finale of the film, you see him on the train. And how he gets on the train is the big moment, big reveal you see in the trailer of him riding on the motorcycle, parachuting off, jumping off that cliff with the big parachute landing. And Benji's like, are you okay? He jumps off and he does the big woo-wee, and he lands on the train. Well, he doesn't land on the train. He jumps through the window, and then basically Gabriel has set off the train. He killed the conductors, and he hung it on the string that goes choo choo. And then we have a runaway train sequence, and the whole thing is thrilling when they're fighting on the train. Well, actually, I don't remember if they're fighting on the train, because then we see Haley Atwell's character dressing up as the White Widow, and she takes her out and is trying to do all this deduction with the key. It gives off the key, and then they take back the key, and he's like, and Agent Eugene's character is like, why'd you not do this? And then he walks off and sees the real Vanessa Kirby character, White Widow, and she's like, wait, you were just hit. He's like, I don't have the key anymore. Go get her. Go get the person that's you. So they go after Haley Atwell's character, and then chaos ensues with Tom Cruise coming into the mix to get the key, and he goes on top of the train, fights Gabriel with a little match, with a little sword match and everything, and it's so thrilling. It reminded me of the first Mission Impossible when they were on top of the train, and like Tom Cruise is like ducking under the thing to get under a tunnel. It's so thrilling, and it gets even better than that, because then Gabriel has set up on this big bridge, right? Set up bombs, explosives to count down, and it all explodes. And then they collapse. Whatever the word is, I'm trying to think of. Unhook the front of the train, and it just goes. The front of it just goes off and crashes into a pit, like a bottom, like off the cliff, and then each train car just continues falling, very dramatically, like off the cliff, like off, like hanging, dangling from not the thread, but the train. It's crazy and intense, and they're trying to run up Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise and Haley Atwell are trying to run up, like hanging down, trying to run up from each of the cars. The first car is actually the dining car, the kitchen car, and like all all of the liquid is running all over. There's like sliding, and then the next car's like the dining car, like where they eat, and it's very like they're hanging off of the pipes, like the railing. It's so intense. This is the biggest intense moment in Mission Impossible. Like even the helicopter scene with Henry Cavill from from the last one was thrilling as well. There's lots of thrilling moments in Mission Impossible, but this was the one that put me over the edge. Like, oh my god, and there were some thrilling moments in John Wick too, but John Wick 4, and John Wick as well, but John Wick 4 as well. But this one was just took it to the next limit, and I could talk about this all day, but I don't want to. I don't want to keep you guys longer than you need to be. But anyway, the train sequence was thrilling, and then at the end, Mantis, Pom Clementine's character, Paris, has a death scene as well, where she tells him what the key is actually for, like where the key's located. She tells him it's on a submarine, and he goes to find Benji with the parachute, and he gets away from all the villains. And Haley Atwell is recruited by Agent Eugene. So on the future note, I don't know where that's going to go. I don't know if she's not working with Ethan anymore, or what's going on there, but we'll have to just wait and see. So now he returns with Benji and Luther. I don't know where Luther went, but I don't know. And so I forget how the film ended. Yeah, he just went off with Benji, and then we see the submarine underwater, and then it ends with the Mission Impossible theme. So I love this film. As I just said in the beginning of this video, this is my second film of the year. This Spider-Verse 1, this 2, John Wick 4 is my third, and I don't know after that. Maybe after that's Guardians 3, but we got some good films this year, and I cannot wait to see Oppenheimer next. I'm seeing that next week, guys. Maybe based off of this video, I'm seeing it tomorrow. So I'm seeing Oppenheimer tomorrow. Not the day I'm recording this, but the day you guys are watching this. So YouTube time travel. My rating for this on a 10-point scale would be 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10 film. Way better than the last Indiana Jones. I should say way better because I gave Indiana Jones a 7 out of 10, so it's just 3 points higher. But, yeah. 10 out of 10 film. I don't remember what I gave John Wick 4. I think it might have been a 10 out of 10. There's some scratching my face, some scratching my beard. But I don't remember what it was, but maybe both were 10 out of 10 films. Spider-Verse was a 10 out of 10 film, so yeah, there's that for me. Anyway, I'm going to sit here and talk about nothing. So anyway, that's my rating. That's my review for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Lego Dude 11. As always, you can as well follow me at Boba Fett Jerry Master over at Instagram to see more, hear more thoughts on movies. Check out my life. Check out Instagram piano posts over there, and anything else that happens. Like I just said in my life, just I'm an honest, authentic person these days. You know, I like to be myself over there and on my channel specifically. So don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow me, and as always, to keep calm and play Lego, and just watch movies. Do it all. Peace out. See you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.